Hello?
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the show. How's it going?
It's all right. I'm a little tired. I'm good though.
It's a bit early for you, right? I do apologize about the time zone situation. There was a bit of confusion there. Let me just set up things. Normally we kind of do this in advance, right? And today we're rolling a little bit unprepared, but hopefully everything is hold on. There's an issue. Let me just refresh that window there for you. Boom. Okay, good. So again, sorry guys if there's some tweaks that need to be done here in real time. There we go. Beastly, welcome in. So let's get it started. I got my coffee. I see you got, is that a tea?
Yes, it is. I heard you were getting coffee.
Cheers.
So I got
Let's
my
do
tea.
it. Very good. Okay. So it's been a while since I wanted to get you on to have a chat. I think it's been a few months now since I came across your channel, and the first thing I thought was that your dudes and dudettes, like your community, was very loyal. I found that very interesting. I always kind of when I go into a streamer's stream, one of the things I look at is the chat. And your chat is very committed. Everybody's there every time. And so I kind of wanted to get your take on, I guess, how you got to that point. Did you have any kind of particular strategies to bond with people to that extent?
Well, honestly, a lot of that actually happened by accident. My first ever stream, I got raided with 12 people. And that was interesting. I didn't even know what that was. So it kind of scared me. And those people ended up wanting to help me grow. And I'm sure you've seen Dylan Killen in my chat. Yeah. So he was my 26th follower, and he is stuck around the whole time. And
a founder.
Like a true founder. He got his friends to sub to me. He got my affiliate status for me. And now he's streaming. So
So for people who don't know you, give us a quick bio. Who is MxJae, and what is your stream about?
Okay, so I'm a variety streamer. Always have been. Probably forever will be. I've taken up a lot of Rocket League lately. I've been doing training for that. My community is very welcoming. I've heard that from a lot of people. I really appreciate the fact that that's how they ended up being. We have a lot of really big staples in our community that we have jokes about, like the pufferfish, who has been here, and Jimmy. Everybody knows Jimmy. We love appreciating a lot of really big things about people that people do in their life.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think maybe my favorite playthrough that I saw from you was Detroit Become Human. Did you enjoy it overall when you finished it?
I did. I got a little scared there because of the Descartes raid, and then there was 300 people shouting Connor Army at me, and I was like,
oh wow.
I don't even know what this game's about. I haven't met Connor yet, so that was nerve-wracking. I accidentally killed Connor like 3 times because of that, but it was fun. It was fun.
Did you have to ever reload or something because you made a terrible decision?
Oh, I only did once, and that's because I accidentally killed Connor a 4th
time.
Oh
my god.
And I was like, I don't want to kill him again.
I didn't know you could actually kill Connor. That's insane.
Yeah. Well,
so mild spoilers for people here. If you haven't played, consider stepping away. I did want to talk about the game because I think it has a lot of really interesting kind of topics that it juggles with, like the AI stuff and some ethics in that. Like, if you were to exist in that world, would you buy an android for yourself?
I probably wouldn't buy an android. I feel like they're a waste of money. But I wouldn't be upset at the people who decided to have an android.
Right.
That's everybody's own decision. It's like having a smartphone or
True.
Facebook.
It's true.
Like,
Rikus, what's up? I just think that like people who had an Android maybe have a big advantage because imagine all the menial
the free
tasks.
time.
Yeah, they would just like save you a bunch of time, right? It's kind of like when you talk about hiring someone to clean your house. You might still enjoy cleaning around, but every now and then you get someone to do like a deep clean or something.
True.
So,
it's actually really funny because like I play RuneScape. Okay, I played old school RuneScape. Yeah. And I was playing yesterday and I made fun because everybody was telling me to take an easier way. And I'm like, no, you don't know how I play RuneScape. I cut all the wood to make all the bows, to string all the bowstring. Like I do everything in that game.
Yeah.
It's a total time waste, but
it kind of feels good, right?
It does.
By the way, Riley, what's up? How's it going?
Riley.
Because this is like a talk show we do every Saturday. So the daily stuff is interesting because I've been playing Animal Crossing, and against all odds, I'm enjoying it. And there's a big aspect of it, which is like the daily stuff. It's that like small progression every day, right? You go in, you pick up your fruit, you make some money, right? You work on some, I don't know, fences, whatever it is you're doing.
Yep.
And it's that like daily progression that's kind of really enjoyable. I think it's the juice in many games. But let me go back to Detroit, right? Because were you able to keep, was it Sarah? What was her name?
Kara.
That was close, right? There's some
close.
letters in common there.
Like 3. Yeah.
Did you keep Kara together with the kid and stuff in the end?
So spoiler.
Yeah, this is kind of spoilers a little bit for that game. I wanted to kind of geek out about that game a bit.
Okay. I accidentally killed Kara.
Disaster!
At the end. Right at the end.
The only character that mattered.
Oh, yeah. I was very depressed at that. I guess I couldn't just go back. I was like, everybody else could have died, but I didn't want Kara to die. And
that must have been rough. Did you get like a little tug on the heartstrings?
I think I got a lot of tugs from that game. Yeah, that was like a life strange moment for me.
Ricos, thank you, and thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. You got something really interesting, Jay, in your background today. Is that like natural light popping in the background?
Yes, this is 9 a.m. light that is actually quite dark in here. You can't even really see. That's awesome. My lamp's not even on. But...
Yeah, because it almost looks like a studio thing done on purpose because like the color of the background is matching the color of your desk in like a very stylistic way. It's very good.
Yeah, I used to have like a really like dark blanket covering this door. This is a double door that I have covering for my deck. And I ended up putting up a gray sheet and I was like, oh, it makes everything look more white. And that's the basis of the setup. I guess I'll keep that.
Pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. Thank you for the follow, Ethan. Last question about Detroit. Does the fact, so if you think about those androids, right? The fact that they look like us, like almost undistinguishable, does that make you feel like they should have human rights and stuff? Would you like be a android rights advocate?
I don't know if I'd be like an advocate.
Are they just like a vacuum cleaner, or because they look like us, they deserve rights?
I think it's kind of it's a problem because it's the fault of whoever created them to be, pass a human likability test like that. That's I don't like
that's too far.
Actually, they're creating too many humans that they could instill with whatever theories that they chose, but at the same time, is that really what's happening, or are they thinking for themselves? So,
yeah, I mean, are they conscious? Certainly, it seems so, right? They seem conscious.
once they break that barrier, right? So
Yeah.
other than that, it's
I didn't mean to get too philosophical on you. I know it's like 9 a.m. for you, so we'll move on from there. I did want to ask you a few things about like streaming and how you think about things. Like one thing is the games you play. When you choose the games, you do a lot of games that are kind of easy to play with community. So you do like Rocket League, right? And stuff that people can either jump in or allows you to chat a lot with people. Is that on purpose, or is it just coincidence that the games you happen to like are like that?
Well, honestly, when I didn't even buy my Rocket League. I got it as a gift for Christmas from a viewer, and I had never played it before. And I don't play a whole lot of multiplayer games. I was always a solo player. I didn't have friends to play with, so I was like, why not? I'll just play solo. That's fine. But all of a sudden, everybody started wanting to play. So I was like, why not? Like, I want friends. Let's game. And Rocket League started. And then any other one, I just want to kind of chill and relax and hang out with people. And I mean, so we do special community days for that. So
yeah, that's really cool. And I did want to ask you as well, when you have someone playing with you, like in voice chat, for example, do you ever hesitate on like having people in voice chat in case, maybe their audio is really bad and it makes your stream less like, lurkable or something?
Yes. I don't voice chat with a lot of people anymore. There's very few people that I will voice chat with. Specifically my team members. I'll voice chat with them any day. That's fine. But anybody else, it's kind of unpredictable because I don't know their setup.
Yeah. You got to kind of know them a bit before, right? Maybe just hang out in Discord a bit or something.
Well, and I've had a lot of voice chat trolls, so we've really had to lock down a lot of the voice chats.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine that. Potato, what's up? How's it going? So do you get a lot of grief being a female streamer? Because obviously, I'm a dude. For me, I don't have a lot of the difficulties that I think you may face. Do you have a lot of grief from that side of things?
I feel like it kind of goes both ways in the fact of, I'm a female gamer. Sometimes I'm expected to be bad, and it's kind of thrown out there that's the thought. Which, you know what, I am bad at a lot of games, and I'm okay with that because I have fun. But being a male streamer, you're expected to be, I feel like, the best at the game in order to be a streamer. I feel like that gets thrown around a lot. But for troll, just regular wise, I get a lot of really, really, really bad stuff that a lot of my male friends don't get.
I would imagine, just like thirsty dudes jumping in, and luckily you do have mods, right? So that's enough, right? Do you find that it's enough? Yeah.
No, I need more mods right now.
More mods.
It's getting a little out of control.
Yeah. Poochie Pro Player, what's up? How's it going? There's something, I guess, connected to that, is that like the follower only mode in chat. Do you ever resort to that?
No, never. I prefer having it off because I get very frustrated when I'm forced to follow somebody and I don't know them. Yeah. And I end up unfollowing right away.
I really hate that. When I raid someone and it's follower only and my dudes need to drop a follow just to be able to interact, that's nasty, right?
Yeah, I don't like it, but I understand why some people need it.
So I think like just having mods is really just a better option, because if someone goes in, you can just ban them forever, right? That's it. You're done. There may be cases if you get like bots coming in or something, but it's kind of unlikely. Yeah.
I only had like 2 bot problems.
Yeah, me neither. What's up, Fat Hedonist? Welcome back, dude. Okay, good. So what's next on your channel? Like, what are you doing currently and what's like upcoming?
So this is actually really exciting for me. My anniversary is coming up.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
This month.
Good.
And it's actually funny because I met you on your anniversary stream. Actually.
That's true. Cool.
Yes. So that was really fun. And I was going to be doing a cosplay, but I can't get anything in from Amazon. So looks like it might be a little bit pushed back. But we might do it on my affiliate one year, which is in May.
Yeah.
But I'm getting new mods. I'm kind of changing up some practices, getting some new redemptions and stuff happening.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really starting to grind my rank in Rocket League, trying to get up to platinum. So that's
getting some cachet in the Rocket League. So we had a question for you from Nitro. Says, Jay, why do you stream? Like, what is it that keeps you hitting that go live button? Good question.
Honestly, I didn't have a real reason why I started streaming. It was kind of this looks cool, let's do this. And then once I kind of met Dylan and Sierra and some of my other community members, it kind of just became like, well, I got to go back to see them. Like, there's no other way that I'm going to be able to interact with them this way. I need to go back and see them. And it's just every few months, there's just a new person that just keeps it saying, oh, I want to see if they're there. Oh, I want to see them. And I want to game with these people. So,
yeah. Soldier, what's up? How's it going?
Soldier.
Potato, no worries. Have a good rest. So that's one of the big things as well that I appreciate from your stream is kind of how much appreciation for each person there. You know, it really is something I agree with. It's the fact that like one person that chooses to spend time there and kind of return every time is really a game changer, right? So it's like if you just look at the overall number of people there, I think it's a bit deceiving because really what matters is how many people do you have that really show up for you and are there kind of supporting and chatting and being a part of it and deciding to spend their time there. So it's cool that you have a bunch of these people there. So good stuff. Okay, other question about streaming. What is your schedule right now? I wanted to ask you about that.
So my schedule right now is Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, MDT. And then Saturday and Sunday kind of change. With how everything's kind of in the world lately, it's hard for me to find actually when I'm going to be awake. Sometimes I wake up at 11, sometimes I don't. So waking up at 7 was a lot for me this morning. But
not a morning person?
No, I have many shirts that agree to the point that I am not.
Right.
But I am awake. My cat woke me up, thank gosh. But
yes, your beautiful cats. Let's talk about your cats. So you have two, right? You have Callie and Ufi. How old are they? Are they like a year old or something?
So Ufi's birthday is actually on my 1-year stream anniversary.
Wow.
It just, ended up being that I found him when he was exactly like 4 weeks old. So that was around May 20th, and now it's going to be his birthday's April 20th. Callie is almost 2. She turns 2 in June, which I was also there for her birth as well. So like I've been with these cats since they were young.
And they just had kittens, right? Like 5, was it 5 little kittens?
Yes, they have 5 kittens. Yeah, they're 4 weeks old today.
But what's interesting is I think you're taking care of them, right? You're not like, you didn't drop them off at like anywhere. No. You're actually rearing them up and stuff.
Yeah, so Callie's allowed to take care of them in a special big large dog crate that we got. My mom brought it for me. So she gets to take care of them in there. They're now learning today that they can leave it. So I lost a kitten for 20 minutes before, actually for like 5 minutes before I started up here. I was looking for a kitten. So they had to be shut in for this.
Doesn't it get crazy with so many kittens? Don't they go nuts sometimes?
Yeah. I have 7 cats in my house right now.
Oh
I
my
feel
God,
kind of
yeah.
like a crazy cat lady.
Yeah, you're a cat
so
lady. No, you're a
I'm a
crazy cat lady.
People ask how many cats I have right now. I say 7.
That's
It's a little,
insane.
it's a little scary.
So, okay, good. So moving on from there, I did want to ask you a little bit about life and stuff. So, what are some of the like jobs that you've done? You told me you did a bit of McDonald's, right?
My first job.
How was that?
That was hard. Like whoever works in fast food, good on you. That is a hard work,
It's like
especially
long
at a
hours
McDonald's.
and stuff.
Well, not just no, it's they can't like as like that type of work, they can't work you over 8 hours. So that's fine unless you're a supervisor or manager. But like I was 15 when I had that job and I was working 6 a.m. shifts. And what 15-year-old wants to wake up at 5 in the morning to go to work at a fast food restaurant like that you're
Right.
like minimum wage at? Like I was doing 6 a.m. shifts. I was doing midnight shifts.
Wow.
Yeah, they were going to work me on an overnight, but legally they weren't allowed to because I was only 15. So that thankfully did not happen. But I only worked there for a year.
That was pretty early though. Like for you to start working, was that coming from you? Like you wanted to get some extra income at that age, or was it like your parents pushing you a bit?
No, it was like starting at 15. That's kind of late compared to some of my friends who started working at 14.
Okay.
But working at 6 a.m., that happened 6 days in a row on Christmas break.
Wow.
From school. So I was not really happy about that, but they knew I was on Christmas break. So I couldn't say no.
That's a little rough. Pucci asks, I've known Jay for 2 months, but I want to know, how did the OOF squad form?
That is all Dylan killing. 26th follower started saying oof consistently in my chat, and I was like, what is this oof? And then he told me to create an oof emote. We started there, and then he started streaming, created a new emote, and then we found Sierra, and that all happened. And then about 9 months ago we found Panda, and then it all came together as one for all 4 of us. We just started going with this.
It's really that core of people kind of creating the recurring themes and like jokes and stuff.
Yeah, we just added a 5th member as well, who happens to be like Panda's friend in real life, and she's great too. She's great. Her name's Adacat, so she's our 5th member.
So what is your dream life? If I ask you, picture yourself in like 10 years from now, like old, wrinkly MxJae, right? 10 years from now, what does success look for you?
Well, I think you might be a little sad to hear this, but in 10 years, I'll only be 32.
That's right. You're very young still.
I am only turning 23 this year. So
okay, so minus the wrinkles. You're probably not gonna have wrinkles at that point.
Oh, I already have some in my forehead, but that's fine. That's because I just like raise my eyebrows when I smile too much. So that's a good thing.
That's a good thing, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, 10 years.
It's a long time.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, the company that I work for right now, honestly, I think I'd like to stick with them.
So what's your line of work? You don't have to give out any private details, but
so I work for a drilling company, like core oil drilling company, in Canada. So a lot of people maybe don't understand what the tar sands are, but a lot of people may also hate me for the fact that I work in drilling. I get a lot of that, but I'm right now an administrative assistant.
I see.
Bottom of the bottom. So I really hope to kind of like work up in this company. It is kind of a family-run company, and I really hope to kind of take over some stuff here.
Yeah, for sure.
Within the office, within the field, whatever I can. So in 10 years, I mean, I hope someone's looking at retirement and then me being like, hey, I've been here so long.
Yeah, for sure.
Put me up there. Yeah, so.
So does that allow you a good amount of like time outside of work to do the stuff you like to do?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I work 8 to 4:30 every weekday.
Okay, like a regular.
Then, just a regular, 8.5 hour day. And I mean, in the summer we don't work Fridays. The office is closed, so that's nice. Right now, actually.
So like the full summer, what, like 2 months break?
Oh my gosh. No. So from like about May to beginning mid-September.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. That's all. No Fridays, which is lovely for streaming.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So when it comes to other stuff, what would be like your top hobbies outside of like gaming? So when you're not gaming, when you're not streaming, what is like Jay's favorite thing to do?
Binge Netflix is a huge.
What have you been
binge watcher?
What have you been watching recently?
A lot of movies, actually, like really cheesy, crappy movies.
Nice. Well, like rom-coms or what kind of stuff?
Yeah, like raunchy rom-coms. Like I just like that's like my niche right now. So like Hall Pass with like Owen Wilson, and then I was watching She's Out of My League with Jay, and I was like, oh.
It's good stuff. Like sometimes it's nice to watch. Yeah, it's nice sometimes to watch something that doesn't require any thought process from you, right? Where you can sit down and you know you're in it for a 2-hour ride, and you're not gonna have to spend any bandwidth there. It's nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knit. I sometimes do that on stream too, though. But I do knit quite a bit.
So where did that come from? Was that like some relative that kind of got you into it?
No. I took up knitting randomly when I was 13 years old. Just decided that I wanted to start knitting. And that
interesting.
Progressed from there. Yeah, I bought books, taught myself. Had a little help from my grandma, but she doesn't really knit, so that got confusing. Yeah. And I've never really stopped. It's one thing I've never stopped doing is knitting.
It looks like a very zen activity. When I look at you knitting in those streams, it looks very... Is it almost like a meditative thing where you're like...
It can be.
Zoning out with it?
Sometimes I don't really pick the correct music for it. And one time, I think I had people request like deathcore metal while I was knitting. So people would come and be like, "You're knitting to metal. What is this?" Like, I don't know. This is just what people picked. Like, I'm sorry.
So the song request thing is interesting. A lot of people dislike that because it kind of takes control from you. Right, in some ways, it's like the chat is shaping what your stream sounds like in some way.
Right.
Does that ever bother you, or?
Well, I actually don't have a song request anymore.
Oh, you've disabled it?
Yeah, I disabled it. This was a while ago that I've done a knitting stream, but I disabled it because of copyright issues. I was having a lot of muting in my streams, and I didn't want muting in my VODs because there's a lot of people that end up watching my VODs that wanted to come back. So I use NCS now.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Like some people say, "Oh, who's watching VODs?" Some people watch VODs. Like if you look at the views, some people catch your VODs, and also the other big thing that people sometimes do is they have this intro, like when they start the stream, right? They have songs playing. A lot of people have licensed songs, and they don't realize that their VOD is going to be muted exactly when they start the show, right? You start your show, you're like, "Oh, welcome back," right? This is the MxJae show.
Usually you have your announcements in the beginning.
Yeah, and it's all muted. It's all muted because you had some song. So
yeah.
So VODs are a thing. Like when it comes to YouTube, have you ever given any thought to doing some YouTube?
So I can't technically. I'm not allowed to talk about this right now because there is something in the works.
Secret project.
Secret project with our lovely media producer. And I'm not allowed to. Yeah,
okay, but there's some stuff in the works there.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk about it.
No, we can skip it. That's fine.
Okay.
I was curious to see if you were doing anything there. But okay, so going back to the knitting stuff, the reason I asked is because I've done a little bit of like meditation on my side to help with like some anxiety and some other issues and stuff. Have you ever tried anything like meditation?
No, I haven't. Knitting is usually my go-to anxiety relief. I do have severe generalized anxiety disorder. So I have a lot of things that help me relax. One of which is binge watching Netflix, which is a terrible one, but it works. It works really well.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, sit and be all anxious in myself and not watch Netflix.
For sure. So one of the things that I like to do in these conversations is kind of normalize talking about mental issues, because a lot of people have them and there's a bit of a shame thing associated with talking about those. So I do try to normalize it a little bit. I also don't want to pry too much on your particular, problems, but you mentioned there's a few things that kind of help you with the anxiety stuff. What are some of those outside of the Netflix stuff?
So clearly Netflix, that's a big one for me, but knitting helps if I'm doing something else. Like it's just kind of nice in the background to just like, okay, I gotta pay attention to this while I'm paying attention to this. It really helps with keeping your mind occupied off of anything else other than your thoughts. It's just, that's kind of what I do. Reading used to be a big one for me, but I haven't been reading lately. Jumping into my work is a big one as well. Streaming. Holy, just streaming help. I never really imagined how much streaming helped, but like I don't have time to think about my thoughts while I'm streaming.
Yeah.
I have to pay attention to the chat.
Absolutely. It's people think it's escapism for the viewers, but it's also escapism for you because you're so fully focused, right, on what's going on. So what you're describing, and I think all of those things, is basically very similar to meditation. Because the meditation, the traditional one that people talk about, it's like mindfulness, it's the idea of focusing on one thing so much that everything else you're unable to pay any attention to anything else, including random thoughts that typically pop up in your head.
Yeah.
Which I think is why, you find those things to be helpful, because I think, like I say, there's a meditative quality to those things you're doing there. So that's pretty cool. That's what I tell people as well. Meditation is not just like putting on a robe and being a monk, retiring right off to a mountain or something. It's really just the idea of paying attention to something to the detriment of everything else, right? To the point where you just don't have the ability to think about other stuff because you're so focused on something. I think the knitting is good too because it's very tactile, right?
Yes.
There's something about, doing something physically with your hands, like whether it's, for me playing music, for other people it's things like knitting or, doing like crafts and things like that.
Yeah, I scrapbook as well for that, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool stuff. So, Apuchi says, piano, but I don't play it, relaxes me listening to it. Guitar,
piano
Beat
is
Saber.
true, yeah.
Have you ever played any instruments, Jay?
I played drums as a kid.
Really?
I wanted to be a female drummer, like big
That's
time.
so cool. I'm picturing you now, like, walking it out in the drums. Didn't you find it, because I find it very therapeutic to play drums, because you can kind of really,
You can get your anger out.
you can get your anger out. Yeah, and it's a good conduit for that, because the music kind of, you get that rhythm thing going.
It's kind of like the opposite of meditation,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
yeah, exactly.
Instead of trying to focus on like one specific thing, you're like, nah, I'm gonna get this out. We're gonna get it out, and then we're gonna be done with it.
Yeah, and
Right.
it really does feel like you got a weight off your shoulders after. So that's really cool. 16-bit Heroes likes to play the bass. Very cool, man. Very cool. Yeah, we gotta do a jam at some point. So we talked about a bunch of stuff there. Are there any like books or audiobooks that you listen to? Do you ever do that kind of stuff?
So I don't really do audiobooks. I have a friend that consistently does audiobooks just because they're not the best reader. But they want to read more complex novels, so they do audiobooks. And I've never done that, but the books itself, I do a lot of fantasy novels. There's a Napoleonic War dragon series that I read. It's really interesting. And it's like 7 books in the series, I think.
Holy
I
crap.
only have 3 of them, but
Yeah.
I've never even read all 3. But I do a lot of podcasts instead. I listen to a lot of podcasts.
What kind of podcasts do you go for?
True crime, actually.
Oh, nice.
really,
yeah, like murder stories and stuff?
Yeah, murder
Cool,
stories.
cool. Yeah.
I have 2 separate podcasts by the same guy. Both are true crime. One is terrifying, but good. And the other is just informative, kind of.
Is it? I think it's kind of weird. There's this sort of fascination with gruesome crimes that I think a lot of people have that. I was watching, I don't know if you've seen this show on Netflix. What is it? It's escaping me now. Sorry, there's a TV show that came out semi-recently. There's 2 seasons for it. And it's about the people who created the serial killer terminology.
You talking about Mindhunter?
Mindhunter. Or Mindhunters? Mindhunter.
Mindhunter, yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Have you seen that?
I've seen season 1, yeah.
Do you like it?
I'm working, yeah. I love stories about the BSU, the BAU, like that's kind of like a huge thing that everybody thought was really fake because of how they portrayed it in other shows. But I'm like, nah, that's a real thing, man. Like, there are real profilers. Come on. Get with it.
Yeah, I really enjoy that kind of stuff. Like, for some reason, there's a bit of a fascination of like trying to understand how those crazy people think. Because it's so alien to me that I'm almost curious to understand. Like someone who's like, dude, you know what? What would really float my boat would be to like murder someone. It's so alien to me that I'm almost like intrigued. I want to learn how their how their brain works.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of creepy. Yeah. I think people are asking, what's the podcast that you were talking about? Like the true crime stuff.
So both are made by the same guy. His name is Mike Boudet. He's amazing.
Okay.
A lot of people hate him, but I don't. I think he's great. His original podcast is Sword and Scale. People probably have heard of it, and if you haven't, that's surprising. It was rated number 3 on Apple Podcasts for a long time. And the terrifying one that he does with actually a fellow Canadian.
Oh.
So that's awesome. Is called Monstro. They basically are not talking about true crime. They're taking the crime and reinventing it through voice, like going through the actual crime. It's terrifying because they pick the worst freaking crimes ever. So
that's a bit disturbing. Yeah.
I don't know how much you know about like true crime, but whoever has heard of let's say this one's just messed up. Andre Chigatillo, he's messed up. They did a whole 2-part episode on him, and he's creepy.
Yeah, damn.
It's
One
bad.
thing that I think about is, you know how I think it was Charles Manson, wasn't he? Like the famous
Yeah.
killer. So I think he was diagnosed with like some kind of brain problem. Do you remember that? He had like some
Yeah.
kind of brain thing that basically like people were saying he has no choice over his actions or something like that. Do you buy that? Like if someone
I
has some
mean,
kind of brain thing, does that exempt them from responsibility?
I don't know if people want to ask me this because I'm Canadian, and we probably have one of the worst justice systems for like mentally ill killers. They all go free.
Oh
Let me
yeah?
just put that out there. They
Oh
all
man.
go free. So whoever has heard about the Greyhound killings, yeah, that guy is free. He only was in a mental hospital for 2 years or 3 years, and he's free. And he did very, very messed up things that I will not talk about on
Right.
stream. It is
Yeah.
very, very gruesome. He should not have been let out, but he is.
Yeah.
We have a very, very lenient system here. So
Yeah.
it's a little scary to be in a lenient system, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think ultimately I would it's a difficult question, right? Because if you do have something like physical that pushes you towards that kind of stuff, I get the argument that, you know, you're very likely to commit those crimes. But at the same
Right.
time, I think you're still responsible, right? There's still agency there. You can still resist, right? Whatever urges it is you get.
Yeah.
And I do think
I
there's
mean,
an element. Sorry, go on. Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to say that mental illness caused this crime or whatnot. However, there are plenty of people who live with the same mental illness who don't kill people. So it's
Yeah.
hard to say if that's a reason or not.
Uh-huh.
It's more or less you were going to do this whether or not you were mentally ill, but because of the fact that you were, it kind of exacerbated it and made it faster.
Yeah. Let's
Mhm.
conquer. What's up? How's it going? So I think, yeah, I agree with you in the sense that there people have to be accountable. Even it's like even if you're very likely to do something bad because of a brain thing, I think you're still should be held accountable. But there is one aspect for me. I think we should move on as a society from like a punishment based thing towards a like actually trying to help those people in some way, but also like a balance, right, between the two. You know, I think it does make sense to punish people in the sense that it dissuades other people from doing those horrible things.
Yes.
But at the same time, there should be an element of trying to, you know, repair those like broken people in some way.
I think I mean, I don't know how it is in the US. I'm not there. But at the same time, in the US, has one of the harshest criminal justice systems that exist on minor crimes. Like, not on major crimes, but on minor crimes.
Yeah.
And Canada as well has a very strict system for minor crimes. But at the same time, we don't like. I always hear about people getting, life sentences in the US for nonviolent crime. And I'm like, what is that? We don't have, like, Canada doesn't dole out life sentences. It's like
Right.
nothing. They really, really think about it. Like, if anybody is on a lenient, more progressive side of things, it's definitely Canada of how we choose to deal with minor crime. But dealing with other things, we're not the greatest at dealing with violent crime because we don't know how to deal with it. We don't understand. We don't have a whole lot of problems with extremely violent crime like the US did in the 70s,
Right.
80s.
Yeah.
Like, they had very horrible history and it sucks, and they kind of grew off of that, which was very not a great place to grow off of. So it's hard to say.
So I do want to move away from the horrible murdery stuff a little bit. Go a bit lighter, right?
Yes.
We'll go a bit
Yes.
lighter. I did want to ask you like another thought experiment that I like to run by people here. This is the mermaid thought experiment. Okay.
Okay.
If you had to choose, like, let's say that for whatever reason, the love of your life is a mermaid. Just accept the premise, okay? Would you go bottom half fish or top half fish? Right? So imagine it's either a mermaid or a merman, right? Whatever floats your boat. Would you go like top half fish or bottom half fish? You weren't ready for that one.
No. I think bottom half.
Bottom half, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. Think about it.
It is, yeah.
Whether it's a man or a woman, if you imagine a giant fish head, right? And then try to think anything like to do with that head. It would just be like, just imagine the smell of the fish head would be gruesome.
There's no purpose of having just the fish head. That's weird. Because like the bottom half at least gives you, speed in the water.
That's true. Although it would be shitty if you're just like a normal human on the top half, you wouldn't be able to breathe, right? Underwater.
Right, you wouldn't have gills, yeah.
So you would just like swim fairly quickly on the surface, and that's...
No, you go to a coral reef where you're like, I could lay and still be in the water and be around all this beautiful coral.
Yeah. Johnny loves this question. I've only asked it like 4 times, so don't get off my case, fat heathens. So, what are some things that drive you? What excites you? Is it like streaming? Does that give you like quite a bit of drive, or is there any other things that?
I mean, oh my goodness, stop it. My cats, I can say that right now because they are right here. My cats really drive me every day, especially Oofy, just because of how lovable he is. He's like my dream cat. Every time I was younger and I wanted a cat and couldn't have one, I dreamed of that type of cat. Him. And streaming definitely really pulls me through. There are a lot of times where I have to force myself to stream when I'm really not in the mood. And it's hard, but I end up having a good time most of the time. Sometimes I don't want to stream, and then I have a terrible stream, and then I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why did I do this?
Oh, no.
But it always ends up coming back pretty good. But
yeah. So really the cats thing is interesting. Sorry, go on that.
No. Go on. The cats.
I wanted to ask about the cats because as a kid, we had a lot of, like in my family, we had a lot of basically rescue cats, you know, from like bad environments, let's say. And every one of them turned really bad. just terrible. You know, they scratched destroyed everything. They, just very, very, they didn't like caresses or any sort of like fluffiness stuff, right? And Basil, my cat now, he's the first cat that I got from like a local neighbor here. So it was a good environment. He was with his mother for a few months, right? It was, the difference is so stark between like Basil and all of the other cats I've had in terms of how nice it is to have him as a companion compared to some of those other cats that were, very just like destroying everything. Do you have any issues with your cats? Did they come from like a kind of a safe environment or?
So actually neither of my cats came from what I would consider a safe environment. My Callie, my oldest, she came from my mom's acreage. She's a farm cat, and I brought her indoors, and that was not an easy task to do. She was used to being able to do whatever she wanted, and she really is a bossy cat because of that. Very, very bossy. Yeah. She's not nice to people except for me. She only loves me.
Very possessive.
Very, very. My one best friend comes over and she hates him.
Oh no.
She hates him with a passion. She attacks him in his sleep when he's sleeping on the couch. She will attack him. And she hisses at me and attacks me when he's there. She's like, why would you bring him into my house? This is not okay. It's very bad. It's very, very bad. But I mean, Oofy, he was abandoned by his mom when he was 4 weeks old, and my roommate found him outside their work, and he was trapped behind a sea can. We had to get him loose, and I had to take him in, get him milk. I had to bottle feed him, but he is the nicest cat I've ever had. He doesn't scratch except for on his scratching post. He just wants love. All he wants to do is just be in your face and rub on your face, and he's the best.
Yeah, that's so nice. It's such a nice companion, right? A cat.
Yeah.
It just works so well. I did want to ask you about like cultural differences. Were you raised in Canada? Because I think you said you had some family in London as well, right?
London, no. I have a friend. I have quite a few friends who are actually from London. I was raised in Canada all my life. I've actually lived in this town for 20 years.
Okay.
Going on 21 this year, so I've been here basically my whole life. I wouldn't say that's a good thing. It's a very small town, and that's very not fun. But I do have family in Amsterdam, or just right outside Amsterdam. I have some family in Germany, family around Canada. So, hey, Oofy. But
Oofy.
It's just gonna sit there. But yeah, I have a lot of family kind of everywhere right now.
So, like growing up in Canada, one thing that I always find funny is, so I'm originally from Brazil, and then I moved to Spain. And one big thing that we do in both countries is whenever we greet someone, we give them 2 kisses, but only if it's a girl with a guy. So if it's like 2 girls, typically it's not as common. But if it's like a guy with a girl, there's always like 2 kisses. Is that like super weird for you as a Canadian? What do you guys do when you greet?
I mean, that would kind of freak me out. That's never happened to me.
It would freak you out, like if someone just kind of gets in there and.
Well, I had this whole conversation with you that I'm like, I'm not a people person.
Not like a touchy.
Someone touched my hair once out of like context, and it scared the hell out of me. I was like, what are you doing? Don't touch my face. But no, I don't know. For greeting here, I don't know. Everybody just shakes hands or hugs, whichever floats your boat, I guess. Or we do nothing and just do our whole Canadian hello, goodbye. But
what, like, do you just wave?
we sometimes wave, yeah. We'll be like, oh, hi. I do that because I don't like personal contact with people.
No, so like handshake or anything?
No. Sometimes I don't. Because my mom will like introduce me to some of her friends, and I'll just be sitting there like,
hello, Basil.
Hi.
Let's give you a treat,
Basil.
buddy. Hello.
Aw, Basil.
Let's give him a treat.
You need to see Basil.
Come see Basil. Let's go, baby Basil. Come on.
Come here.
It's not the Caturday show without cats. There we go, buddy. Yeah. Look, buddy. It's another cat. Look. Look at the screen.
He doesn't know what to think.
It's a cat show.
It's a cat show. Hi,
Good boy,
Basil.
Basil. Yeah.
Do you see Basil? No, you don't pay attention to screens. You just want your food. You're hungry.
They're like a similar kind of cat, aren't they? Like black and white, short hair.
Yeah.
Fairly similar kind of cat.
Yeah.
So, good. We talked about a bunch of stuff. My last question, I always like the last question. I like to try to throw people off even more than the mermaid question, right? So,
okay.
The last question is, if you could solve one problem in the world right now with the wave of your hands, which problem would it be?
I mean, right now it kind of seems like maybe a little bit easier to make this decision.
Would you just wave away the human malware situation?
The human malware situation? Yeah, I'd call it that and be like,
yeah,
go away, because
yeah,
I can't even do anything here, and it's not that bad. And here, and just like, go away. Can I go back to my life? Can I go, not be stir crazy and stuck inside with my 7 cats? And
are you guys like pretty isolated there at the moment, like locked down? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, everything that I used to like. Get rid of Trump Rose. That'd be funny. No. But like everything that I used to go get for like, well, I have piercings, right? And I've got like stretchers. So everything I used to go get is in the city, and I'm not allowed to go there. And the malls are open, and anything I want from Amazon is going to take a month to get here. And that's, even with Prime, it would take a month to get here if I had Prime, but I don't. And it's just frustrating.
Yeah, I see some people giving their opinions. I think, like, for me, probably poverty would be what I would do, because if people simply, had money, there's a lot of stuff you can fix, a lot of, like, baseline stuff you can fix, including, like, illness, right? If you get ill, the worst thing is if you have, like, bills piling up and other stuff going on, right? But what's the other one?
Another one is kind of like, I'm a little worried about Europe, to be honest, because they're always in so much debt, and now they're just getting smacked with this. Like, thank goodness that, the UK separated from the EU, but I feel like you guys are going to be asked to bail them out again.
Yeah.
That happens quite often.
Pucci says, I want to ask a personal question for both of you. Hope you don't mind. Well, I mean, that's a little bit too personal. I don't know if Jay wants to share about love life. I guess maybe do you have...
That,
yeah, we don't have to go there. But I did want to open it up to you. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about now that we're getting to the end of our hour here that we didn't get to?
I kind of want to know your opinion on some things on Canada, like the things that you've heard being in the UK, similarities and whatnot, or I don't know.
Yeah, like what kind of thing?
Well, we talked about the whole Wendy's situation, and you got confused on that, and that was really funny for me because, I mean, Wendy's is everywhere here, and I don't think about the fact that.
And apparently, I thought it was a Hooters kind of restaurant. Yeah.
That was just so funny because it's like a McDonald's, and I was like, "There's maybe only like, we don't really have Hooters here. That's not really in Canada, so I've never been to one. So I wish I could go. That would be nice, but I can't."
Yeah. So what's like the biggest difference you would say between Wendy's and McDonald's? Is it just like the burgers are better?
The burgers, yeah. The quality, I think. It's more expensive for sure, but the quality is definitely shown more. Oh yeah, what is England's perception of Canada? What do you hear about Canada?
So, well, we hear that you're very progressive with your politics. And I think right now there's like a kind of a basic income thing happening, right, for the virus situation. Is that
anybody who's been affected is that's after taxes. That's really nothing. They don't tell people that, but that's kind of what the situation is. But it's okay.
So I think the thing that Canada was most famous for, from our perspective here, from like UK, was the whole business with kind of transgender pronouns and things. It was very, very made very famous.
It was, yeah.
we don't really have to get too much into that because it's a bit, polemic, it's a bit controversial. But I did want to ask you, is that something like you encounter often, like issues with that kind of thing, like in real life? Do you ever have issues where like there isn't a toilet for someone or, things like that?
Well, the thing is that I am in a small town in Alberta, and Alberta is probably one of the only provinces that does not care about anybody, like doesn't care about anybody at all. It's a very, very, very conservative province, which is fine. It's we're great. We're not doing the greatest right now, but that's okay. But we honestly no one talks about a lot of stuff here. It's very difficult for anybody to get any information here, which is a frustrating aspect. When you feel like you're a part of the community, it's a very difficult thing. There's not a whole lot of information, especially in my town. No one talks about that type of stuff. You don't talk about it. But
Right.
However, our government in Alberta did do some progressive aspects of that, whereas our licenses, that was a huge problem for a lot of people, was getting the correct license. And you no longer have to put your gender on your license. You can put X. You don't have to put anything on your license if you choose not to. So that's not a discriminatory factor against the way that you look versus how your license suggests. So, yeah.
Dank Moonflower, what's up? I think for me, the only thing that I have there that's a bit of an issue, I'm very like accepting of any kind of transgender orientation. I have some friends that that's the typical response, right? Oh, I have some transgender friends, but I don't have any issues. I mean, for me, the only thing is when people take offense because I don't know their pronouns in advance. It's like, my dude, you haven't told me. Mm-hmm. I can't know, right? So I really don't care if you want me to call you, by a different name or a different pronoun. I really don't have any issues. Just tell me, right? It's one of those, like, if I'm hanging out with you and you told me, look, I prefer that you call me this instead of this, I would just do that, right? There would be no issue there. It's kind of a trivial problem. It's like a non-issue for me at all. Yeah. But I do think people need to meet us halfway. And if it's one of those cases where, they want to be called a specific thing, there shouldn't be an issue with just kind of saying that without taking offense.
Right. I agree. That's kind of a big thing that we don't really, talk about in Canada as much. Well, anyway, where I am in like a little bubble, mind you, of actual Canada. If I went to go try and live in like Vancouver or Toronto, you know what, I would probably be yelled at all the time because I don't understand how a city works, let alone a metropolis. Like, they are the biggest cities in Canada. I don't understand how they run. It scares the crap out of me, so many things. But on like an aspect of like what Canada hears about the UK, we just, every time we talk about the UK, I'd be like, oh wait, those people that own us, we've got their monarchy on our money. Like we very much, that's how that kind of goes. We don't really know a whole lot about the UK. We don't talk a whole lot about the UK because everybody is still under the impression that we are owned by the UK, which technically technically there is still a Britain advisor in our government.
And what about the US? There's also a bit of a perception, at least from me, that you guys don't really like the US and vice versa. US doesn't like you guys. Is that a real thing?
We're like a big and little brother. Yeah. Like, the US is our big brother who basically thinks that we're doing everything wrong, and we're the little brother that's like trying to show them the new ways of things that's kind of how I see that. But at the same time, they definitely, we have a lot of policies that don't match up. But I feel like the US doesn't really learn a whole lot about us as much as Canada has to learn about the US because it's right there. We're like, oh, we need to have this knowledge about you. And they don't seem to have that same concept of us. Like, we could give like a general description of where certain states are, and they don't even know where our, like the fact that we have 3 territories.
Yeah.
They don't even know a basic geography question. So it's not all of them clearly, but I run into a lot of Americans where I have to explain when I say that I'm from Alberta that I'm like, no, that's in Canada. That's right by you, actually. So
I did want to clarify, like about Pucci was talking about bullying, and you know, here in the channel, I have a very strong policy against bullying, and that includes anybody in chat, you know. And I extend myself the same courtesy, which is why if someone is bullying someone, I just ban them. And I'm happy to never have them interact in my chat ever again. I find the power of banning someone so nice because, you know, it's such a powerful thing to say you will never be able to chat in my chat ever again. Do you have what's kind of your policy in your chat? Okay, we'll do this the last question because I'm aware of your time now. But what's like your policy in chat? What would warrant a ban in your, you know, in your chat?
What would warrant a ban? Honestly, I think the majority of the thing that gets people banned is, well, calling me a lot of very inappropriate names.
Bad
That
names.
is the major one. Yeah, there's a lot of really bad ones. There's one that I actually have a clip of now because I kind of told them off, and it was lovely. It was very fun. They told me to make them a sandwich, and I said that I'd make myself a sandwich and eat it in front of their face. So,
oh man.
Yeah, they called me something else after that. And right. I was like,
Yeah, I think it's very clear, right? When someone comes in and they have no intention of adding anything positive to the chat.
Yeah.
Like at that point, I'm not interested in interacting with that person. And I'm happy to have one less viewer at that point, if that's that viewer specifically. So I don't worry about, you know, losing viewers if that's the kind of viewer that I'm losing.
Right. I mean, I've also had like issues of, I'm kind of like.
Oh, no, it's okay. It just lagged for a little bit.
Okay.
We're good.
I've never really had major issues of like people chatting and then me having to ban them like a while later. Majority of my bans are immediate. They come into the chat knowing what they're doing.
It's clear, right? There's no maybe they meant well. No, they were a jackass, and that's it.
But there are some times when certain jokes get taken out of context by not me all the time, but my mods, and then they'll delete the message. And I'm like, no, they're actually like they send jokes all the time. That's okay. I know them.
Yeah.
But it's not really communicated that well, and they kind of said, "Oh, they're look at their
yeah, that can happen for sure." Remy, what's up? How's it going? So, what's going on there in the background?
They're kind of playing a little bit, I think.
Okay. So, look, MxJae, I really appreciate you coming on. I think I'll let you go now because our hour is over. Would be very happy to have you on again and see how things are going with your channel and with life. Yes. Thank you very much for coming on the channel. Take care.
It was very fun.
Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.